Independent adjusting is still worth it in 2026, but not for everybody and not forever. So let's talk about it. If you found this video, you're probably already asking this question. Maybe you've done some research, maybe you've watched a few videos, maybe somebody told you that this was a good career, and now you're trying to figure out if that is still true. Good. That's exactly the right question to be asking before you spend time and money getting into this. I'm Matt, and I spent 20 years as an independent property adjuster, and then for the past nearly a decade, I've been training new independent adjusters through Adjuster TV. And when my graduates finish, some of the top I firms in the country will waive their experience requirements so that you can get work now instead of waiting years to qualify. And in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly whether independent adjusting is still worth pursuing in 2026 and who it's actually right for. And here's a short answer. Yes, it's still worth it, but with conditions, and those conditions matter more now than they did 5 years ago. So let's find out what those conditions are starting now. So the independent adjuster model, where carriers hire outside firms to staff up after major storms, has been the backbone of catastrophe claims handling for decades, and that has not changed. What has changed is the pressure on that model from a few directions kind of at the same time. Carriers have been pushing more claims to their staff adjusters. This is a cost play on their end, and it's been happening gradually for years. The independent adjuster workforce also got flooded after COVID, when a lot of people were looking for something different, and the internet was full of videos, some of them mine, telling them that this was a viable path, and it still is. But more competition for the same claims means that the margin for error on your first deployment is smaller than it used to be. And then there's AI. I'm not going to tell you that AI is going to replace adjusters tomorrow, because that's simply not true. But it is starting to touch the edges of what we do, particularly on smaller, more straightforward claims. And that trend is going to continue. How fast and how far it goes is the real question, and nobody knows the answer to that just yet. So is the window closing? Probably, maybe a little bit. Is it closed? Absolutely not. Cat property adjusting is still one of the fastest ways for a person with no college degree and no existing industry connections to build a six-figure income from scratch. I do not know of many other fields where that's the case, especially building it from scratch in a very short period of time. The fee schedule model still rewards speed and quality above almost everything else. And if you can close maybe 5 to maybe 7 high quality claims a day when the adjuster next to you is closing 3, 4, maybe 5, you're going to get more claims assigned to you. Period. That math has not changed. And major weather events are not getting less frequent. Active storm seasons mean that more claims mean more demand for trained adjusters who can actually do the work. The firms are always looking for people who show up, do good work, and don't cause problems. Sounds like a low bar, and in some ways it is, but you'd be surprised how many people just simply can't clear it. And if you're brand new to all this and you're still figuring out what independent adjusting even is, I put together a beginner's guide that covers everything from licensing to your first deployment. Link is below, or you can go to adjustertv.com/start. So who is this still worth it for? This is where things kind of get specific, because is it worth it is really two different questions depending on where you are right now. If you're career shopping, you've got a job you don't love, you're looking for something with better income potential and more flexibility, independent adjusting is worth a serious look. But there are some startup costs: getting licensed, learning Xactimate, buying gear, setting aside cash for your first deployment before you receive your first paycheck. You're probably looking at somewhere between $3,000 to maybe $10,000 all in, including travel and hotels and all that stuff, before you earn anything. And it could be 6 months to a year between deciding to do this and getting your first claims assignment. That's not a reason to walk away. That's just a reality that you need to plan for. And if you're already licensed and trained and you've been sitting on the fence trying to decide if you should actually pull the trigger, the answer is yes. Do it right now. The window's open. Waiting another year is simply not going to help you. But if you're looking for something easier, passive, or a way to make quick money without putting in real work, this is absolutely not it. It never was it and never will be. The adjusters who treat it that way are the ones who wash out on their first deployments and never come back. But what's the real question underneath the question when we're asking if this is actually worth it? You're asking if you can actually do it. If somebody like you, with your background, your age, your situation, can realistically make this work. And the answer to that is almost always yes. I've seen people come into this industry from construction, from sales, from the military, from law enforcement, from jobs that had nothing at all to do with insurance. What they had in common was that they took the training seriously, they prepared for their first deployment, and they showed up ready to work. The ones who struggled were usually the ones who thought the license was the hard part. It's not, okay? The license gets you eligible, it opens the door, it's kind of the ticket to the game. What you do after that determines everything. And you can decide right now that independent adjusting is worth it, and you can be completely right in that. But if you don't know the exact steps to get from that decision to your first deployment in the right order, you're going to waste months finding out the hard way. And that's exactly what we're covering in this next video right here. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and have a great storm.